okay, the desire gets articulated, and then maybe you assume, like, once I say it, they're gonna be able to meet it, and
Mhm.
then they don't, and that means they don't love me, but actually that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's now they also have boundaries and they also have needs. So how do you meet each other in the middle? And we jam on this. We totally geek out on this because for us, the answer isn't necessarily compromise.
Yes. That was, like, almost choking me to want to say because 'cause I'm like, "And it's not compromise." Fucking dirty word, and not the sexy kind we like. This is Erotic Reclamation.
Space where desire isn't shameful, boundaries are a turn on, and curiosity is welcome wherever it leads. I'm Nicholette.
And I'm Kari. And we're here to have honest conversations about sex, kink, relationships, aliveness, being in a body, and all the weirdness that entails, and pleasure that heals.
Because these electrifying, liberating, ecstatic, but misunderstood parts of the human experience are too good to hide.
All right. Today, we are going to talk about unspoken assumptions, which we are boldly claiming are the silent killers of intimacy.
Mm.
It's actually not even that bold. Yeah, you think about like what you have in your head, and if you don't tell anybody what it looks like, what it means, how can anybody, unless they're a perfect mind reader, how can they ever give you the thing you want? So, yeah, let's dive into places in relating with yourself, relating with other, where these assumptions are actually like killing the moment, making it stale, stagnant, weirdly like frictiony, which you can't identify if you have a moment that you're like, it's off, but I don't know why. Likely there's an unspoken assumption.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the jump off points that when we were thinking about this podcast that brought us into this were our reflections on some reality TV shows that we've been watching. We won't name them, but we'll speak to some of the themes that we're seeing, which are if somebody's bringing something from their past into this relationship and making an assumption on this new person, which is essentially a projection on this new person based on their past relationship, that is often a source of challenge and problem. Then, if somebody has a specific desire and they voice it once and assume that the other person is just now gonna do it in the exact way that they want it and every need met and you're gonna do it every time I want it done.
Mhm,
Or, somebody says it and it's kind of like both people have different ideas about the desire and don't actually get on the same page about what it is. So either like one's trying to do it, but the other person's like, "Why are you still not meeting it?" And that's because they have different ideas about what the thing is.
mhm,
But also, sometimes it's just a lack of clarity in the first place.
mhm. Yeah, so I could see there's like vagueness that is often present, something like this. So if we took it a little more specific, it'd be like, I don't feel wanted by you. And like, okay, that's some information for your partner, but there's a whole lot there. Like maybe that person's partner is trying to meet them. Like maybe in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm texting them, I'm calling them, I'm putting posts up on social media about them. They're doing what they think making someone feels wanted is, but the other person's not getting it for whatever reason. Past trauma, relationships, history, probably a combination of all of that.
Love language.
Love language. I mean, honestly, I think that's probably a just really simple big one is checking, like, am I giving love the way that I would wanna receive it? And, like, hold on, how would they wanna receive love? Like, those wires get crossed so often,
Mhm.
and that's where this assumption piece comes in because it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna assume you know what I mean when I say, 'I don't feel like you want me,' and you know how to change that, and I'm not gonna tell you because you should just know,
Yeah,
and if you don't know, you're not the person for me."
yeah,
I'm like, "What is that noise?" This person is trying. Like, honestly, for me, trying trumps getting it the first go because
mhm.
there are gonna be things in life that you're not gonna get the first go, and you want someone who's gonna listen to you, show up, and try again. Like, to me, that's, like, a much, much more of an indicator of, like, green flag relationship vibes is, like, someone who's willing to listen and try.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you're bringing in a lot of pieces here. So, "I don't feel like you want me." There's there's a lot to tease apart in that sentence in itself. Is that an emotional wanting? Is it wanting to be desired sexually? Wanting to be desired sexually in a certain way or to a certain frequency? Is there a way that you feel desired that is some flavor of expression that you're not seeing? So, one of the first things that we bring in here is curiosity. When someone brings a sentence, often what'll happen is the other person comes in with, "No, I want you. I do you all the time. I'm what," and so defensiveness comes in.
Mhm.
But when a person makes a claim like that, there's much more going on than just that sentence. So if you can relax the defensiveness and get curious, genuinely, like,
Yeah.
with your open heart, and if you can, if what they said triggered you, first go, like, get your nervous system regulated, get to a place where you can actually have a conversation without
Mhm.
being defensive, where you can have access to empathy. Whatever you need to do that, might be taking space, might be talking to a therapist, it might be just having a tea.
A walk around the block.
Yep. For me,
Fresh
it's
air and walking during these kinds of conversations can really help you stay grounded instead of,
mhm.
like, sitting and staring straight at someone. I tried to show you love this way last week." That's
Yeah,
my go-to, is like a list. "Here's the ways I've tried to show you love. Make sure you read receipt these before you come at me." It's not
yes.
trust me, not been the way to make them feel loved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so getting resourced is how we'd say it, like, getting yourself to a place where you can calmly enter the conversation and then get curious. And I think what can be really hard is that initial impulse to take it personally, which makes sense because when you show up to somebody in a relationship, you're you're in it for a reason. And most likely you're giving everything you can. And if you're not, there's particular things going on with you too that can be unearthed. But let's assume that you're giving everything you've got and they come in wanting more. Then getting yourself to a place where you're not taking personally, like that you're doing everything wrong, but that there's something that they want more of, then you can get curious. So, what does it feel like to be wanted? What would make you feel more wanted? What do I do that actually makes you feel wanted? What you know, would it look more sexual? Would it look more like spending time with you? Would it look more, so you just really, really dive in and listen, ask the question, then listen. And the person who is sharing, who's making the request or the assumption, we're gonna call it an assumption. If you can share in a way that isn't accusatory, "You never do this, you always do this, you're always da da da," but
Mhm.
instead speaking from yourself, "I would love to feel more of this. This makes my body get really turned on. This would, light my heart up so much. I need dot, 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 to feel loved and supported.
Yeah, there's makes me think of there's, like, the sender and receiver of communication, and often there are places to improve on both sides.
Mhm,
And if this is someone you want to be intimate, close to, and love, this has been honestly, this has been a big unlock for me, is remembering in a moment of maybe, like, conflict or where I don't feel seen or he doesn't feel seen and we're in something, we're in it, it's a little sticky. Remembering, sounds so simple, that I love him and I want to feel cohesive and on his team kind of can help me drop some of the knives that I've picked up that are
mhm,
like, "Well, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. Do you see? Like, you're not." And I'm like, "Wait a second. What's my goal here?" Like, I don't actually wanna cut this person. I wanna reestablish connection, and that sounds so simple, but in that moment when you're caught in something and it's throwing you back to like, "Oh, I'm not feeling validated in my effort." Like, he tells me twice a week they don't feel loved, or, like, they're just dropping that and coming back into real time and being like, "Hold on, this person loves me. I love them. Let me take a breath here and see who any person can shift it in any moment and be like, "Oh, we're on the same team. Let's put down the defensiveness." Kind of back to what you were saying, but sender or receiver of that information. And if you're the one who's like, "I don't feel like you want me," like, check yourself. How many times have you said that
mhm,
week? And if you've said it more than twice that week, you probably should try different words. Like, there's probably something going on, and it's not anybody's fault, but it's like, okay, what I'm saying, I'm assuming that they're able to hear it, but maybe they're really terrified because they're afraid they're gonna lose love. So they get so scared that they can't hear you. But normally they can, and they're a super smart person, but for some reason, what you're saying is not getting in. You're assuming that they know exactly how you like you said, what would make you feel loved? Is it public? Is it sexual? Like, maybe instead of, like, "I don't feel loved," it's like, "I want more public displays of affection when we're out with our friends."
mhm.
That's something your partner's like, "Cool, I know how to do that."
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're bringing in a couple pieces that I think are important. One, eh, when you're first speaking, you're talking about this greater thing that ultimately brought you to the relationship, like that desire for deeper connection or however you would, whatever words you would give it. But there's this like greater thing that brought you into it, and holding that as like we often call it a north star, like holding it as your north star. I think returning to that and having both partners return to that is very valuable in these moments, these kind of minutia moments. So you can connect around that again and know that your intention is ultimately to return to that level of connection that brought you to the relationship in the first place. And then there's another piece that you're bringing in here, which sparks for me, when it goes well, like person actually articulates the thing that they truly want. And so I love this, like empowering yourself to try saying it with more specificity, or and it can help to like get with another person and be like, I keep telling him, I'm not feeling desired. Like to have another person help you get more specific. What exactly is the thing so that it's not on your partner to get there, but either one of you, ultimately the goal is to get more specific.
Mhm.
So then there's a real thing that you can actually negotiate. And if it's yeah, if it's public displays of attention affection and, like, the other partner is like, "Hell yeah, I'm all in for that," and, like,
Mhm,
"What kind of do you want me to hold your hand?" Like, "Woohoo, let's hold hands all the time," like, I'm in. But sometimes it's actually not possible. The person wants you to spend more time in physical contact, and, like, for me, physical touch, I can only kind of handle so much in a day.
mhm,
I'm lucky that, like, my partner and I have a pretty equal amount of physical touch, capacity and tolerance, and so it's, like, a really sweet balance. But I've had past partners that needed a lot more physical touch,
mm,
and so, we had to come to new agreements so that they did feel loved because
mhm,
and I wanted them to feel loved, but also honoring that I wasn't gonna bypass the level of physical contact that was right for me. And there's different levels of this. Like some people want more of your time and like this often happens where someone like works a long day of work and wants some space before coming into connection and the other partner wants connection right away.
mhm,
That can be a very common conflict. So some of these things where like, okay, the desire gets articulated and then maybe you assume like once I say it, they're going to be able to meet it and
mhm.
then they don't and that means they don't love me, but actually that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's now they also have boundaries and they also have needs. So how do you meet each other in the middle? And we jam on this. We totally geek out on this because for us, the answer isn't necessarily compromise.
Yes. That was, like, almost choking me to want to say because 'cause I'm like, "And it's not compromise." Fucking dirty word, and not the sexy kind we like. Yeah. Say you wanna say more? Because yes, I was feeling that same.
Yeah, yeah. So there are pathways to working with these little moments of friction or conflict or not meeting each other that where it doesn't have to be, and now I give up this so that you can have that. I mean, bleh.
Mhm, mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, compromise certainly can be a path and
Yes.
it's a heart-centered path and my husband and I have made compromises that work great for us. It's very simple. It's like, okay, I'll go to bed a little bit later and you'll go to bed a little bit earlier. And that way, like we get that
Yeah,
extra time and it's like it's fine. Like that works fine.
yeah.
But there are a couple of other pathways to working with these like little conflicting frictiony moments, especially when there's one person's particular desire in that comes into the realm, and then the other person also has a desire or has a boundary that's like, "I don't know if that's gonna work." And one of those ways is through curiosity, coming to a totally new
Mhm,
way forward that neither of
mm,
you thought about.
mhm,
And the only way you can get there is through really getting curious and getting at, like, why does that light them up so much?
yeah,
Or like, why does that bring them so much satisfaction, relief, relaxation, calmness, um, love, feeling loved? Like, why does that do that for them?
mm,
And when you really understand the why underneath, there's usually like a shared why that comes into light that then you both can find something that moves in that direction.
yeah. Like, I'm almost thinking of compromise builds resonance, which we've talked about, which is like sameness, and that's important and is quite useful in things like bedtimes and diet preferences and if you're in a shared house and can work sexually, but I find in the realm of the erotic compromise is a killer
Mhm.
because there's a little bit of of something given up in compromise. And when it comes to, 20 minutes of sleep, if you are big on sleep hygiene, don't come at me. But it's easy to be like, okay, 20 minutes of sleep. That's I don't feel personally wounded about whatever if you ask for 20 minutes of sleep. But if you ask for this specific sluttiness from me, well, I don't feel bad about that either. But you might be someone that is like, oh, I'm not enough. And you've now put an assumption on their desire that
Yes.
whereas when it's something in the realm of like day-to-day living, there's not that same there can be, but there's often not that same, like, intenseness with, like, their desire means something about me. I have now an assumption. And so I like moving from, like, assumption to agreement in the realms of
Mhm.
sex and doing this in this way with curiosity and finding something completely different outside of the norm, outside of what you assume sex is, outside of what you assume love is. Like, you guys get to build it together.
Mhm.
And at the heart of it, yeah, this is the thing we like geek out on is like, what do you do with seemingly conflicting desires? And you really can ask, like, what's underneath that? So you have this desire for, we should probably use something tangible. What's a good thing someone might have a desire for?
I think a common one is more physical affection.
More physical affection. So maybe one partner has a limited like tank for giving or receiving physical affection, and one partner's like, I need more. So you could imagine if you're going the realm of compromise, both partners are kind of losing
Mhm.
because they're both kind of like swallowing a little bit of something they want and not getting. In that framework, in that lens, in that like perspective and way you're looking at it, I think compromise focuses sometimes on what you're not getting. And what we're offering with the curiosity is okay, what's underneath your desire for more physical touch? Is it so then what you might go is like, oh, what does that do for you?
Mm.
What thoughts do you think when that happens? What sensations do you feel when you get that? What types of touch give you like 10 touch points? What types of touch only give you one touch point? Is there touch that makes your touch go negative?
Mhm.
Like these are all things where you start to be kind of like, cool. So then this other partner is like, I've got a limited reserve. I can make sure that I'm giving them love in a way that really like maximizes it. You can get kind of geeky. And maybe underneath is like they have a desire to feel contained or yeah, like I was trying to put it through my own lens. Like touch can help me feel safe from my
Mhm.
partner. Like a little hand under the knee when the conversation maybe is like a little getting political or something that's making me a little uncomfortable, like a hand on my knee is I feel so safe and seen and like, "Oh, I'm not alone in this world." So for me, hearing that, that partner who has like limited touch reserve is now like, "Oh my gosh, of course I want you to feel safe and like you're not alone in this world."
Mhm.
And so now, instead of that person who doesn't want as much touch just automatically now having to give you touch because it makes you feel safe, the curiosity goes towards them again. And so I don't know if you want to kind of walk through what it might be like being someone who would want less touch or like what's underneath the um is it do you get more tired with touch? How do you feel when you have given too much physical touch? What's that like for you?
For me, yeah, I feel drained.
Mhm.
I feel like energetically and almost physically too drained. Like it's not tired as in I need to go to sleep, but yeah, it's like a drained. It more shows up for me, not so much in my relationship because as I said, like we're pretty balanced here, but like when I show up at a party and like everybody wants to hug
Mm.
on the way in and on the way out.
Yeah.
And it's just automatically assumed we're all gonna hug.
Mhm.
I get very drained after, like, a couple of hugs,
Mhm,
uh, and I'm good at kind of sort of keeping my own sovereignty and, like, some of the energetic things that I do to take care of myself, like, I'm better at that, but just it's almost like a prickliness that I'll feel
mm,
after a little while of, like, a lot of hugs,
mm,
um, and often a hug is like a handshake, like, it's just some kind of contact, and
mhm,
it doesn't actually feed me.
mhm,
So but that would happen in relationships too, where, like, I had partners that would just kind of habitually hug me or touch me,
mhm,
um, and I any habitual touch, because touch for me is significant every single time it happens.
mhm.
So when it's, like, habitual and it's just happening a lot, it's almost like a fly, and so it
Yeah,
gets irritating, and
yeah,
then I get irritated, and I get agitated, and I do not wanna be that way with the person that I love.
mm, yeah, thank you. So in this, like, experiment, if Nicolette and I were trying to negotiate touch, it's like, "Oh, so what's underneath her no here is habitual, unintentional, there could be opportunity for more curiosity, like, is there any component of expected? Does that change it? Like, because what I heard in the hug scene is that there's almost like a social expectation.
Mhm.
Like, so you can kinda start to be like, "Oh, wait, so tell me more about it." And so now it's like, having heard that, how do these 2 people move forward with intentional touch that maximizes for the person who wants it, maximizes the benefit that they're getting, and assuming there is that greater why, like these whoever these fake this fake touch thing that Nicolette and I are now demonstrating for you. It's like, okay, in service of us being close or friends, like how would we negotiate that? And it's like, okay, if we're gonna hug or if I'm needing some amount like a hand on my back, like maybe we do it in a way that's like, "Oh, we're gonna slow down or take a breath." I'm gonna maybe express like, "Hey, I'm feeling something. Do you mind putting a hand on my back?" And I imagine if I did that, that then invites first it's invitation, it's vulnerability, and it invites the touch to happen in a way that is more intentional. And can still hit feeling safe, regulated, and grounded and intentional, which is kind of at the baseline. That's the baseline yeses for both people in this scenario.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also, I think, a way to co-create something too that meets both of us where you feel safe and you feel grounded and like I'm meeting you here that maybe doesn't even have to involve physical touch.
Yeah.
For example, and we could play with an exploration, but it could be something where I say, "Well, what if I were to sit like 3 inches away from you and have my hand behind you and be breathing really deeply? Would that make you feel safe?" And you might say, "Well, no, the hand doesn't necessarily do it for me. Like, I actually need to feel the physicality and like, okay, well, what if I put like a weighted blanket on you and I laid it on you, so you didn't have to do it, but I did it for you." With that, so it's like for
Yeah.
us to do this together.
Yeah. And then it's like, as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, like if that was me and it was like at the dinner table and I'm starting to even just like a look across the table of like, there's just that moment of like, I see you. I know this is kind of a crazy conversation. That's at the heart of a lot of times the kinda light habitual touch that I might actually find. It's just an acknowledgement that I'm not alone in my reality.
Yeah, and I hear that, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to look at you.
Yeah.
Like, let you know I'm here, like, "Oh," and maybe I even added, like, a wink, like a
Yeah.
knowing wink, like, "I
Yeah.
got you, I'm with you," like, and you'd be like, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
so it's like, then we actually get to, like, riff on it and you see, like, my body just got really lit up and energized, and you were saying, "Yeah," and
Yeah.
so we found this yes together.
Mhm. And you have to you keep going, right? And in the realm of compromise, same example, you would look at it and be like, "Well, we've agreed we're not gonna touch. So, well, that's what we're losing, and we've agreed so we'll just go with that. We've agreed we're not gonna touch. I'm still not getting what I want. Maybe she puts her hand on me, but then she also is not getting what she wants because she's like, "I'm kinda tired, but, like, I want her to feel safe, so I guess this is what I have to do for her to feel safe." And it's in this lens of curiosity and, like, creating something completely new, we're both actually excited
Mm,
because it's like, "Oh, we really are on the same team, and we actually can continue to tunnel down." I have yet to find one where you let me pause before I say that. There are clear things that people are a no to,
mhm,
right? Like, even in that example, Nicolette offered a way that touch doesn't even have to be involved. And originally, it seemed like touch was the pivotal thing. So there is still a no held in that whole conversation, and we can still find a yes. That feels like a win. And I think that's actually probably available in almost every dynamic,
mhm,
assuming that you have, like, you want to be close with, connected, friendly, intimate, whatever with that other person. Obviously, if you can't come to an agreement or you just don't want to, you don't have to negotiate any of this. Like, you can just say, you know what? I'm not actually interested in being someone that provides you with that feeling. That's not the degree of intimacy I want with you. Great. End of conversation. You don't need to continue to flesh out how it could look. But I think we used this example of touch, but this is really good in the realms of sex.
mhm.
Like, I want to explore kink, and this partner's like, nope. And it's like, okay, what's under the no? Okay, what's under the yes? And then what emerges as you continue to dive into what does this do for your partner?
Yeah,
Or what is it that they're like, what does it not do? Like, what does it do? Does it make them scared? Does it make them free? Does it make them tingle? Does it make them remember something uncomfortable from their past that they don't want to revisit? And if you're sitting in front of someone that you have respect and care for, they're going to be on the same team as you being free, loved, safe,
mhm.
connected. And now you're just in the like, how do we get there?
Yeah. There are 2 blocks to this that just came up for me as you were sharing that I think are good to bring in at this point. And we'll probably talk about each one individually. The first one is something you mentioned earlier, which is these like having it mean something or some kind of projection on the other person or like it means something about me or it means something about you, your yes or your no.
Hmm.
Like, you're no to touching me, and therefore that means that you don't love me, or you don't wanna,
Hmm.
be close to me, or you don't care about me and what I need, or
Mhm,
whatever that is. This is very common, and it really blocks this possibility for curiosity, because as the person's asking questions, everything that they ask to try to get clarity on your desire is colored by your belief that
mhm,
they don't actually love you and they don't wanna be close to you and they don't and so and this especially shows up if someone has a boundary, that the boundary means something about me. Their boundary
mhm,
means something about me.
mhm.
No,
The
their boundary
assumption, yeah.
yes, that's the core assumption, and no, their boundary means something about them.
Yeah.
And
Say that one again.
their boundary means something about them.
Yeah,
And it's a beautiful thing, like, when we just dove into this, like, me recognizing my energetic sensitivity, which is actually a very vulnerable thing for me to be sharing because, I don't know, it's not really something that's talked about in the norm, and it's been something I've had my whole life, and it's difficult to explain to people, and so if I actually talked about that with you, it's because I trust you,
Mm,
and I trust you in, like, getting to know this aspect of me that is, like, part of my in and out day-to-day life that I don't that kinda goes unseen, that people don't really see or experience
mm,
or understand about me. And so now you get to have that understanding, and it's really about me.
yeah.
And and if I were to project on you, like, you don't care about my boundaries. You don't, you're just infiltrating my space all the time, and you don't know, like, if I were doing that,
Mhm,
it's the same thing. I'm making these assumptions, and I'm making my boundary about you.
mhm.
And often what people do is they make their boundary about the other person, and they make it their problem. Like,
Yes.
now it's your problem that I am fritzed out because it's been too much touch.
Yeah, like, you're not sensitive enough.
Mhm.
You're not, you should have. If you loved me, you would already be feeling that I'm tapped out or getting depleted.
Mhm.
He's like, whew, and it's quick, right? Those stories can come in so quickly. Assumptions, stories, projections, we're kind of using them interchangeably. But I
Yeah.
love this framework of like the boundary set is about the person stating it.
Mhm.
And something that can happen when you are discussing somebody's no, right? Again, this is a no that is on the table to be discussed because there's something greater that you're a yes to. So, like, I'm a yes to being connected. And so, my no for this specific piece doesn't mean I'm a no to finding connection. So, when you are with someone that has a boundary, remembering it's about them. So, letting whatever shame, self judgment, I did it wrong, which can then turn your flashlight of awareness totally on yourself. And then you leave that person over there kind of stranded and alone after they've stated a boundary. And you're like, whoa, hold on. We're in this together.
Mhm.
And then you actually take that flashlight of awareness and turn it outward. And curiosity is the place. Yeah, I would love to think of curiosity as like a land, a magical place. I actually really like
Curiosity
that.
land.
Yeah, we're gonna meet in Curiosity Land. That's the field room he was talking about beyond right and wrong. It's curiosity. So, curiosity around someone's boundary, not coercion,
Mhm.
disguised as curiosity. And that can be, again, kind of a slippery slope, but check, is the question you're asking about someone who has a boundary, is it in service of understanding them more? Or is it sneakily disguised as curiosity and you think you're going to get them and show them why their boundaries wrong? So
Mm.
the questions can be like, oh, what is that like for you in your body? That's a curiosity question. Or the question can be like, well, what do you think happened to you at some point that made touch
Yeah.
so difficult for you? That one still could be curious, but there's a little tinge of like, there's a problem. Like,
Mhm.
what do you think happened, or what do you think you would need to be a yes to more touch? Or it's so funny because we are so steeped in curiosity. When I get to the end of it, I've kind of already fixed it a little, but
Yeah.
there's like a way of sneaking in because I can do this in arguments too. Like, I see where there's room for you to grow, and I'm going to ask you a coaching question
Mhm.
so that you can see yourself better because I still am holding that I'm right, or the way that I see things, I'm going to get you to see things my way. And those are the questions that they're just not going to get you where you want to be. That's not curiosity. That's more along the realms of coercion.
Yeah, and so the piece of, like, having the meaning, so the problem here is that you don't care about me, or whatever story I've made up around why you're not touching me.
Mhm,
So, if you really actually cared about me, you would touch me. And so then it gets into, like, well, then why don't you care about me?
mhm.
Or, like, what if you actually cared about me, like, why not just do it, so it's like that's where it gets coercion.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, "Oh, do you think" like, "Oh, is it that difficult to touch me? Like, is it that much of a burden for you to put your hand on me? Am I that unattractive?"
Right.
Like, like, oof, there's lots of things that can come up with it. And but
Yeah.
then it can hook both people, because
Yeah.
then the person who stated the boundary can be like, "Oh, no, 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 like, you're not disgusting," and then all of a sudden you guys are, ooh, sidetracked on a completely different pathway with someone who stated a boundary trying to reassure that they love the person. They just don't well, they have their own reasons, like we heard an example of, like, it's depleting for them or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah. So slowing it down actually, like, really being able to articulate the boundary and really being able to articulate the desire, and slowing it down so that you both understand those and understand the whys underneath will help you to actually find a path forward.
Yeah. And
Um,
you don't have to know it, because I wanna just be clear too, in the, like, clearly articulating, this can be really tricky. This can be really tricky. We geek out about it because we help people with this process, but we're not in those seats. It is so tricky to look someone in the eyes that you love and your brain is telling you they might leave you if you say no to them, or they might
mhm.
leave you if you tell them what your, like, deepest yes is. And so, while clearly articulated yeses and nos is the, like, ideal buy-in, just starting somewhere with a partner you love and trust, and then trusting that together both of your curiosity. Like, you might not actually know, "Oh, I don't like oh, touch depletes me," or you might not actually know you're a no to touch. You might just know, "I feel kinda agitated, and I don't know why." That can also be a place then, "Oh, tell me when it comes up." And then you're like, "Oh, it's often after we've touched a whole lot." Like, "Oh." So the, like, yes, clearly articulated like, boundary and desire is the, like, gold star if you can get there, but if you can't, curiosity from yourself or your partner, and maybe you do it yourself, you just journal a little, like, "Okay, what's going on with me?" And then come to your partner, but you can really start anywhere with this and get to that place of, "Oh, this is exactly what it is. This is what's happening."
Yeah. There's one other piece with that, like, a common one that you often hear is, like, "I need more sex."
Mhm.
Sex encompasses a lot of and what more sex, like, what that actually, like, is that more sex in a day, more when we have sex, like, more time? Does it mean, like, I actually want to be brought to orgasm more often? Is it, we go into the bedroom this many times a week? Like, what actually does more sex?
Penetration,
Yeah,
oral, hand jobs.
exactly.
You need me to initiate, just to be a yes to,
Yeah.
because I need more sex could also just be, I actually need to feel that you want me and I need to feel your sexual hunger for me.
Yes.
Or it could be like literally, no, we need to actually prioritize it because we have kids and we just don't do it. And I don't care how it starts, but we need to put it on the calendar and prioritize it. Those are very different approaches or like different needs for the same sentence.
Yeah. So again, starting with I need more sex, which sounds very well articulated.
Hmm.
I need more sex, said my need. then both of you can really dive into what that actually means
Yeah.
and, how you can meet that. Because the other person might be like, "No, I'm what we're doing is fine for me."
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's let's see what this actually is getting at, because it might be that the actual behavior and the frequency of the sex and how you're having sex doesn't change at all. It's just that you initiate
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. And, like, the other partner might have an unspoken need. Okay, in order to feel a full yes to having sex more, I would need blah, 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 blah. Like, that's allowed too, and then it's not just like, "I need more sex from you." It's the dialogue.
Mm,
The dialogue is where it really you get more information, you can do so much more about it, and you remember you're on the same team.
yes. So the last piece I wanna bring in here is to not just jump to problem solving. I think what often happens is somebody has a desire. So, for example, I want to introduce kink into the relationship. I want to experience kink. And immediately they assume, so here's where the unspoken assumption comes in, my partner's not going to be into that.
Mhm.
So, from the assumption, then they start to problem solve. Okay, so partner won't be into it, so I'm gonna research ways to get and it could be sex workers, could be whatever. I'm gonna research this. I have this other solution for how I'm gonna get the kink, and then I show it to my partner with the package. I want to see a professional dom, and then I was like, "Whoa!" Or like, I want to open the relationship, right? These like big bold things come in, but there was this initial desire
Mhm.
that all these unspoken assumptions brought you in, and problem solving the unspoken assumptions without having a conversation with your partner led you to this very kind of bold request. Or some people take those actions without actually making the request.
Yeah.
I need to go have an affair. I need to go whatever that is, and don't bring the initial desire.
Mhm.
And it's because there's an assumption that blocked you from doing that.
Mhm.
So, bringing the initial desire, even if it's messy, even if you don't know how to say it, but like, I want it more spicy. I want more variety. I
Mhm.
want it to be different every time. Just starting there opens up new possibilities where you can do the problem solving together on the same team, as you said, versus packaging up, solving it, whatever, based on how you think your partner's going to respond, and then bringing some kind of answer to them.
Yeah. And, like, see the dramatic presentation, like, of not having that conversation. I can see it in the other swing too, where it's like maybe I'm gonna use a gendered example, but maybe a man wants to experience submission, and
Mm,
there's a lot around that societally, culturally, and so he might have that deep desire, but he's, like, already projecting, assuming she's not gonna want to that she's not gonna wanna play this way, so then he's like, "Okay, but maybe I would be okay." He starts to have the conflicting desire conversation just by himself.
mm, mm.
And so just whittles away and compromises on the desire, and then what gets presented is, like, kind of a wishy-washy, like, "Well, maybe we can just play with," and handcuffs just show up in the bedroom,
Right.
and then, like, the other person can, like, feel the, like, who is what is happening? Who is this for? I'm missing something," but maybe they don't know, and then there's this, like, weird non-described experience, and then they both leave, and they're like, "Well, guess we're not kinky."
Yeah.
It's like, "Whoa." This whole thing, like, got derailed in making the desire either like, "Oh, they won't do it, so now I have to go blow it up and get something big and crazy," or, "Oh, they won't do it, so now I have to cut it down." So it now is this, like, weird tiny match instead of the bonfire that it is, and it's just like a yeah, those are like the unspoken. I mean, we said assumptions, but they're just unspoken, like, desires, assumptions that are, like, making intimacy muddy and, like,
Yeah.
murky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the person this is where, like, new thoughts and stories can come in around the "I'm too much, I'm not enough," because the conversation actually hasn't happened, where
Mhm,
the person said, "Oh, I want something spicier," and,
mhm,
and so now there's handcuffs, and the other person's thinking, "Wait, does this mean I'm not our sex isn't good enough? Is there something wrong? Wait,
mhm.
what am I supposed to do something?" So brings kind of both of you into your head.
Yeah,
And we're all about coming out of the head and into the bodies, into the conversations, into the present moment with each other.
yeah. Circling back to if your partner says something like, "I wanna bring kink in," again, just now being in the receiver part of that, that can be hard. That can be hard
Mhm.
to receive. For a number of reasons. You can feel like maybe you've let your partner down. You can feel like inadequate. You can feel fearful, overwhelmed.
Might not know what kink is or
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah. Like so much compassion. And like when you first hear that, you might not be able to access full curiosity in that moment. You might just need to be like, okay, like let me just breathe with you in that. And you're we'll say it 7 million more times in this business, I'm sure. You're allowed to take a moment and breathe,
Mhm,
and nothing has to happen in that moment.
mhm.
You don't have to you don't even have to have this curiosity conversation in that moment. So this is like the importance of like both being able to regulate your nervous system, which we talked about at the start. Like, do you need to walk around the block? Do you need to have a session with your therapist? Like, there's no shame in having shame.
Yeah.
like, like it's a very real human experience. And there's also often not a lot that has to be done with it other than just feel it
Mhm.
and just like, okay, I'm feeling a wave of shame that I'm not enough. And that story likely was instilled and then highlighted at many points in your past. And you don't have to go through and dissect it all. And you don't have to pull your shame out and look at it. I find it's so funny that I say shame because it's like this person wants kink. And there's some really hot, spicy ways to work with shame and
Yeah,
kink. But
absolutely.
those are different episodes. But the way we're talking about this can make it seem really simple. And I want to say that this process might take multiple times and touch points
Mhm.
because one or both people might have something flare up. And so, patience, compassion for yourself, for your partner, if you notice they're getting fast or frozen or quiet, like you can be like, hey, maybe we table this for now. So, don't get disheartened if the first time you go for this, you don't just sit down and get as geeked out and as excited as Nicolette and I did. Because Nicolette and I don't actually have like a touch dynamic.
Right.
We don't even live in the same city. So that was an
Yeah.
entirely hypothetical situation. So it was super easy for us to demonstrate it. So
Mm.
you won't get anywhere with this conversation if someone is dysregulated. You
Yeah.
just won't. And so you might have to do 3 minutes of it, you might have to do 5 minutes of it, you might whatever you and your partner come up with, just know that you can come back to it, and it can be a continued and that's how you build trust, honestly. Trust in yourself that, "Oh, I can speak up when I'm dysregulated," or, "Oh, I can step away, and then my mind gets clear, and then I can remember I'm on the same team," and that could take a day the first time. It could take 10 minutes the second time. It could take 3 days the next time. Like, so much compassion for this process. And then Nicolette and I've created this whole business to help people with this because it is hard when you're in your own shit and depending on what you've been given around sex and desire and shame, like it can be a lot to hold. And so that's where we come in and we can help hold that. And we can help hold the like bigger dynamic that you guys are a yes to, your intimacy, your sex life. We can hold that so you get the opportunity to just feel and be messy and not have to know how it all makes sense in the end because like we so deeply believe in this. Like
Mhm.
we can see possibilities for people when they can't.
Yeah, and we
And
can
I've
see
oh
people.
yeah.
Like, we really see you,
Yeah.
and we make it right. Like, whatever it is, your desire, your boundary, like, we, like, cheer you on with it. There's nothing that we haven't seen,
Mhm.
and we're so open to anything that's brought, and we love to find those possibilities. We
Mm.
love getting creative, and sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it's just being with you in the feelings that came up as a result of having the desire, having the boundary, or communicating it the first time. And we'll be with you in that and then help you along in the timing that you need.
Yeah. I've had people do that for me, which is why I believe in it.
Mhm.
I'm not I don't think the first time I stated a bold claim was with someone else who it was their first time. Like, I had someone who felt really comfortable with their own experience in kink before I even started playing in the realms of kink. And so that's also just a piece you to both new to things. Like, it's just letting people stand for you and see what is possible so that your fear can yeah, it can come out, and usually you're like, "Oh god, that wasn't a monster in the closet."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, my life's not over. My wife didn't leave me. My partner isn't looking at me like I'm a monster."
Mhm.
And if they are, that's their stuff, and we can help them with that. Like,
Yes.
"Okay, what about this version of sexual expression scares you or and is that yours? Maybe it is." And like we can help get into that.
Thanks for listening to Erotic Reclamation. If this episode did something for you,
Turned you on, made you think,
made you feel a little less alone, subscribe, leave a review,
share it with someone who needs it, and then come back for more.
because you get to want more.